Hello and welcome back to my channel, Afric Psych. My name is Funi. So before I proceed, I'd like to leave a disclaimer that these are my opinions and no one else's. So today I decided to discuss toxic romantic relationships and why are you still there? There's a bit of a tricky one because staying in a relationship might be damaging or toxic to the kids, and also leaving the relationship might have the same effect as well. The only difference is how deep the sword cuts, the reason for the sword to be drawn in the first place, and how much the children understand. And this obviously is based on how old they are. Partners separate all the time. Some are doing so as we speak. Separation doesn't only affect the partners, but the children as well. Ask yourself why you decided to commit yourself to this person, your partner. What were your reasons for choosing this specific person? Your reasons should not have anything to do with the children because you clearly got together way before or just before the children were born for some people. Pela, get some of you meet today and then boom, 10 months later, there is a bundle of joy. Those ones are questionable. People separate due to different reasons. Some reasons shared with the broader community and some are not. Some people will decide to share their reasons according to what society would like to hear and not what really transpired. Just because people decide to separate, it doesn't necessarily mean that they do not love each other. Sometimes it just means that one of the partners has finally learned who they are, rediscovered themselves, and unfortunately, their new version does not match their partner's character. If you have just rediscovered yourself, you are excited to explore more. And if your partner is not coming to the party, you will get disappointed and eventually bored. Therefore, leading to you wanting to try and learn more about yourself with the external world separate from your partner. Sometimes we tend to hold on to something not because we want to, but because we are comfortable and better the devil you know, right? Wrong. Once a person reaches a stage where they know what they want, they start thinking about themselves and their well-being. They start recognizing what good can come out of this self-realization. Once a person reaches a stage where they know what they want, they start thinking about themselves and their well-being. They start recognizing what good can come out of this self-realization. Hence, in most cases, when a partner announces that they are leaving the relationship, people tend to ask if the person is not considering the children or the partner. But remember, they are now self realizing who they are. Remember, we all preach self awareness, taking care of oneself, good mental well being, know how to love yourself before you can love someone else. You cannot fill others from an empty cup, those phrases. And then we turn around and get surprised when people start following those advices. What we are preaching is contradictory to how we want the end result to be and how it should make us feel. We want you to be happy, but not on anyone's expense. Unfortunately, there will always be someone affected. The problem with loving ourselves is that we tend to do that once we are in a relationship with someone. Some sooner, and unfortunately, others very late in the relationship. The problem is that if you have someone who loves you too much to a point where you learn to love yourself, when you get to that point, you have hurt them so much so that they have fallen out of love with you. So their purpose was to teach you to love yourself in order to be able to love someone else other than them. It is sad, but that was their part in your story. When it is very late in the relationship, the feeling could be detrimental to the outcome of that relationship. Kids might already be involved, marriage, and years devoted to the relationship as well. You need to ask yourself, why are you choosing to stay in that toxic relationship? You are either waiting for the last born to go to varsity. Nago eo, the last born is only 10 years old. Are you really willing to put up with all the toxicity for the next 8 to 10 years? And what if in that space of time you accidentally fall pregnant? Now you have 18 years to stick around for. There is never a good enough reason to stay. Not even love is enough sometimes. You might be thinking, I have invested a lot in this relationship to let it go. Like, firstly, a relationship or marriage is not a business transaction unless if stipulated as such from the inception, and obviously there will be legal documents drawn up and none of the parties are under duress. You are making it sound like it is something that you can easily cancel when you don't want to be in it anymore because it's an investment. Yes, you might think that you invested a lot to just let it go. But even with business, you cannot keep a dying business that has become more of a liability than an asset. If it ain't bringing in profit at all, then get rid of it. What is the point of holding on to something that is clearly not working or literally digging an early grave for you? Yes, you might feel like whatever years you spent with this person cannot be wasted, but you cannot replace the wasted years by wasting more years feeling miserable. Or you might say, I'm unhappy, but at least I'm also in a relationship. No, 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 no. You need help. You need to be happy in that relationship. This happens when you put your happiness on someone else's hands, thinking that you will never be happy if you let them go. You are already unhappy. Stop being in denial. A true investor knows when to cash out. They know when to let go. Let it go, or at least learn to let go. Another reason would be where you're asking yourself, where would I go? I don't work, nor do I have any financial means. What if your partner is the one who decides to go then? Are you going to hold them hostage because they're a provider? I mean, all you need to do right now is get up, hustle, or get a job. I always say to my female clients that a man or a partner will respect you if you have your own income. You can take care of yourself. It doesn't matter what the source of income is. As long as you can be able to bring in income in the relationship, your partner will respect you. When he knows that you rely on him even for sanitary pads, he will disrespect you and mistreat you. I mean, you ain't going nowhere, and he knows that. The disclaimer, not all men are like that. Some men. There are still good men out there. You just need to know your worth and stick by it for you to recognize a good man. Because if you don't know your worth, you are going to see every single Tom, Dick, and Harry as a good man. Another reason would be that I know he is toxic, but I mean, women like bad boys. Speak for yourself, sister. I don't like bad boys. That's your problem, and because you dating boys, hence you like bad boys. I've never heard of bad men. No woman, a mature woman, in her rightful mind wants a troublemaker of a man or wants to be stressed by a toxic behavior. Take a page from a man's book, for example. When you are toxic, they run so fast and they will label you crazy and a psycho. Men respect themselves so much when it comes to their happiness that they are not willing to stay for your toxic ass, regardless of whether you have kids or not. They will leave you with the kids. Don't leave your kids though. You made them consensually. Man up and assume the responsibility of being a parent, regardless of what you're going through. You also have the abantu bazothini, what will people say, syndrome. We grew up with a lot of stigma associated with someone who leaves their union or marriage and go their separate ways. We were told that mosadi o tshwara thipa ka boghaleng, which directly translates to a woman holds a knife where it cuts, where it's sharp. So you need to be strong no matter what. How long are you going to endure the pain before you are left with no hands? And once you have no more hands, metaphorically, no control over oneself, you tolerate even the worst forms of abuse. And when that happens, you get told that libitla la mosadi ke bogadi, a woman's grave is her marriage. You have to bekezela, persevere, but never leave partnership. I mean, all those things that we hear are the ones that are keeping a lot of women in abusive or toxic relationships because we are scared of, defying what our parents, what the older generation has taught us. I doubt if there is actually a male school or gathering where men are told the same things. Men don't get told this nonsense. Hence, they act the way that they do because they know that these are the rules set out by their forefathers towards us women to adhere to. That is why it is easy for a man to leave because he doesn't have to hold it where it cuts and he doesn't have to die in his marriage. He can escape that death and start something else. Remember this, society will always want to dictate how you live your life and succeed if you allowed it to. But society is not there when you have to deal with a toxic partner and a toxic environment. Do what is best for you, not anyone else but you. Hell, our parents, the Gen X, and some of the baby boomers, they're not tolerating abuse anymore. Why should the younger generation tolerate abuse? So get out while you still can, if you can. Another reason would be that I'm staying because I want my children to have both their parents. So tell me, what will you do then if your partner passes on while the kids are still young? Let's say your partner passes on tomorrow. Are you going to keep the body in a frozen state just to maintain having both parents? If that is the case, then it actually means that you need just the physical vessel that is your partner and nothing else. So basically, having a partner at home is just for show, even if they don't do anything at home. You have to understand that children see everything. They are not naive, they just don't express themselves loud enough. Their expressions are labeled attention seeking, whatever, or he's too spoiled, the child is rebellious, and the child is rightfully so rebellious towards your actions, obviously. That's how they communicate. So you need to understand how your child communicates. It doesn't really matter how good you are at pretending, your child knows you better. If they didn't know you better, they wouldn't know how to manipulate you when they want something, or how you and your partner usually fight because you cannot decide on one thing about what the kid is asking for. The child knows which parent is the weak one or easily manipulated. So yes, they do notice when things are not going well. Kids would rather be from a broken home than live in a broken home. I'm going to repeat this. Kids would rather be from a broken home than live in a broken home. Children do tell me that they have started seeing their mother, for example, happier when the father is not around and would rather have that experience, meaning that they dread having their father home. Who are you saving then in this situation? Your children are trying to save you. They are growing up so fast without you realizing it. You are causing more long-term damage to the kids' well-being by staying, citing it is for their sake. You are ruining their mental health while trying or thinking you are protecting them. How do you think it makes them feel experiencing the toxicity on a daily basis? While still on the topic of children, there are two types of children. One who will hate what the toxic partner is doing. They will grow up to be overprotective towards the abused gender. They strive to be perfect in life because they keep on trying to rectify what happened, and sometimes it is because they blame themselves. They grow up with a lot of anxiety because all they want to do is defend and protect. Some are easily manipulated and bullied later in life because they tend to back away from conflict to avoid being neglected. Because remember, when you are not happy in a relationship or in a toxic relationship, you tend to neglect your children's needs. You are now already creating a root cause for that severely depressed or psychopath or psychosocial adult. The child might grow up perceiving everyone as a toxic parent, therefore hating people in general. Your child might be playing with scenarios of getting rid of the toxic partner, meaning they might actually be thinking of how to kill the toxic partner. And then the other kind of child is the one who will idolize the toxic partner. This is the most dangerous one. Imagine what you are brewing by staying. The first step would be to take the child as far away from the toxic partner as possible. Remember, a toxic person will turn on you if they do not have any other victim. Toxicity is like a drug, ecstasy, adrenaline even. It is addictive. So if you leave your child with them, they will eventually start being toxic towards the kid. Unfortunately, in this case, the kid won't even realize how wrong he or she has been dealt. They will mimic that behavior unto other children, hence the bullying. The kid idolizes the parent out of fear. Their subconscious automatically protects them by making them believe that the toxic parent is their role model, in turn eliminating the fear. If your partner is one who puts people down, for example, your child is going to do the same, even as an adult. I mean, have you ever engaged in an argument with someone who had very strong beliefs in something nonsensical? You try and find a reasonable explanation, but nothing seems to make sense. If you were to dig deeper, you would find out that there is an underlying childhood issue that they embraced. Children will always be affected whether you stay or go. More affected if you stay longer. Leaving your partner is a very big decision. As much as it will hurt your partner, you will have to talk about it. Discuss the reasons you want to leave and the repercussions that come with that decision. The reason why some people separate and it feels like World War III is because there was no discussion between the parties involved, meaning no closure for the other partner. Talking about your intentions with the children also helps them deal with the separation better. No one is left hanging with questions but no one to answer them. You are giving your other partner the opportunity to ask you questions so that they could actually get a bit of a closure before you actually leave the relationship completely. You need to explain to the children in a way that they will understand and not feel like they are the main cause of everything. Assure them that they are not the ones who came between your relationship. Let them know that the situation does not change how you feel about them, and never speak ill about the partner who is leaving, thinking that the kid will feel sorry for you and hate the other parent. What will you gain from their hatred towards your partner? Why further involve them in your battles? You have already involved them by changing the dynamics of the family. Just because you have been in a relationship with someone for years, it doesn't mean that you were meant to be together. It just means that one of you was foolish enough to stick around for the benefit of the other. You might have chosen the wrong person and not realize it until now. It might also mean that you had the wrong reason for being in the relationship with this person. Relationships are all about adapting to the dynamics of the relationship and your partner's life or character. You choose to adapt. It doesn't happen automatically. In most cases, some people do not even realize that they are in toxic relationships, making it difficult to leave or even think about leaving. Until the victim is aware of the toxicity, nothing or no one can convince them otherwise. They will perceive anyone trying to help them as the enemy of their relationship. They will tell their partner about your very, very bad attempts at trying to break them off. The toxic partner will then make sure that they turn their partner away from the so-called bad influences. Hence, most abused people are isolated from the entire society. In turn, they stay in that toxic relationship because it is them and their partner against the world. If you know someone who is in a toxic relationship, do not stop trying to help them regardless of what they might think or say to you. Show them love and support. Try and avoid saying things that might trigger them to think you as an enemy. You will need to slowly nudge them to recognize that they are in a toxic relationship. Telling them to their faces that their partner whom they love and cherish so much is actually bad for them is a bad idea. If it is a physically abusive relationship, I hope you are able to help them before they leave the relationship in a coffin. I hope you are able to leave that relationship before you are being referred to as the late. Now, speaking to the people who are in a toxic relationship right now, you need to ask yourself, which category do I fall under or do I belong to? Do you belong to the I left category? If you do, it means that you were lucky enough to realize that you are in a toxic relationship and you left with your life and dignity intact. Kudos to you. If you belong to the I stayed category, it means that unfortunately, you know you are in a toxic relationship, but for reasons known to you, you decided not to leave. Hopefully, you will not end up in the next category. And the next category is the neither nor. Neither did I leave, nor did I stay. In this category, it means that I am gone. I couldn't leave, nor could I stay. I was wheeled out. I will never be able to tell my side of the story. I hope you are not going to fall within this last category, because it means that you are leaving your loved ones behind. Even those children that you stayed for their sake. Now they do not have a parent because you couldn't leave. Think about those children. You are not staying because of them. You are not doing them any good by staying. You are staying because of your own reasons. And in that time, you are damaging your children. You are building a nation, a future generation that is going to be toxic towards one another. So think about it long and hard. I know it's hard to leave, but with time, everything will get better. Thank you once again for watching till the end. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button, turn on notifications, and share.